And in today's Behind the Headlines segment, I want to look at new poll data that just came out from the state of Texas. And the news is in, folks. Texas supports marijuana legalization. Yes, it's amazing. The latest data from public policy polling shows that nearly 3 in 5 Texans, or 58%, support, quote, changing Texas law to regulate and tax marijuana similarly to alcohol, end quote. The poll, commissioned by the Marijuana Policy Project, asked 860 Texans 3 questions related to marijuana policy, and on all 3, the same 3 in 5 margin supported liberalizing marijuana laws in the Lone Star State. When asked whether they, quote, support or oppose a change in the law to make it a civil, not criminal offense to possess an ounce or less of marijuana for personal use, end quote, the same 58% of Texans agreed that marijuana use should be decriminalized. 58%. In Texas, people. This is Texas we're talking about. When asked whether they, quote, support or oppose changing the law in Texas to allow seriously and terminally ill patients to use medical marijuana, end quote, support increased slightly to 61% of Texans that would support protecting patients who use cannabis as medicine. MPP's director, Rob Campia, who is now a part-time resident of Austin, said, quote, most Texans agree that marijuana sales should be conducted by legitimate businesses instead of drug cartels and the underground market. No adult should face potentially life-altering criminal penalties for using a product that is significantly less harmful than alcohol, end quote. Interestingly, the gender gap usually found in marijuana legalization polls is not found in Texas. Where other polls have shown women's support for legalization to trail men's support by 5 to 10 percentage points, the Texas poll shows women slightly more supportive of legalization than men by a difference of 59% to 57%. Women and men had identical 61% support for decriminalization in Texas, and women had more support for medical marijuana at 59% versus men's 56% support. Unsurprisingly, Republicans were not quite as supportive of legalization, with less than half, or 48%, of GOP voters backing a Colorado or Washington-style legalization in Texas. However, Republican majorities support both decriminalization at 55% and medical marijuana just barely at 50%. Democrats in the state back legalization with 70% overall support, and 53% of them strongly supporting taxing and regulating marijuana like alcohol. 2/3 of Texas Dems support medical marijuana, 67%, and decriminalization, 66%. When broken down by racial and ethnic demographics, support for marijuana reform still remains a majority issue. Blacks and Hispanics are more likely to support legalization in medical marijuana than whites, but Hispanics are less likely to support decriminalization than blacks and whites. And every age group supports marijuana legalization, ranging from 52% of senior citizens older than 65 to 63% of those in middle age from age 30 to 45. However, young people aged 18 to 29 fail to give majority support to both medical marijuana and decriminalization, with sizable percentages, 32% and 14% respectively, answering not sure on those issues. And that part of the poll is the one that bothers me, because when I've looked at so many polls over so many years, and all of them will always show that 18 to 29-year-olds have much higher support for medical, decrim, and legalization. But here we're getting huge numbers, for a poll of not sure answers. Most of the not sures on all of these questions, when you broke them down by any other demographic, were not much more than 6%. But 14% not sure on decrim, and a whopping 32%, almost a third of young Texas people not sure on medical marijuana. It's interesting because they do support legalization by majority support, but not decrim or medical marijuana. And I'm wondering if this is young people in Texas not wanting to just go part of the way, wanting to make the big step into legalization rather than the baby steps of medical and decrim. Remains yet to be seen what will happen in Texas, but we are very excited to see these poll numbers here at 420 Radio. All right, folks, it's time for a break, and joining us for the break here in the studio, we got Brian the Red who stopped by. Hi, Brian! We'll talk to him a little bit in hour 2 as well, so stick around.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.